how much worse is the police state than we ever even imagined? I mean, again, I know it's bad. We've been woken up to that. Our eyes are open, but it seems so much worse than we could have possibly imagined, like so much else that we're getting our eyes open to.
Yeah, I think that the police state is rendered even more creepy by the fact that it marches behind the banner of law. And so if you follow the business with Jack Smith and Beryl Howell, the judge, Jack Smith makes a motion, she approves the motion, then Jack Smith suggests that your father, Donald Trump, might be a flight risk of some sort. The judge goes, yeah, that might actually be the case. So I guess what I'm saying is that you've got this naked brutality, this absurdity of collecting all the people who like President Trump's tweets. Why would you want to do that unless you were trying to create some sort of database, some kind of list of political enemies, so that if not Jack Smith, somebody else in the Democratic camp could start going after those people? So, but all of this is done as if to say, we're going through a legal process. So our police state pretends to be saving democracy and upholding the rule of law and affirming freedom and protecting truth from misinformation and disinformation. So the job of a movie like mine is to strip the facade, remove the veil, show people the sheer thuggishness that lies behind this emerging police state.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of the movie you hope you never actually have to make, right? I mean, this feels like, some sort of, despotic film, but it's a documentary because it is actually happening. It means things have gone from bad to worse. What did you learn, while putting it together that perhaps you weren't aware of otherwise? Talk about that process where it started, to where you got to the finished product and what you learned in that process.
Well, part of it, the start of it was I was thinking back to my early career in America and how I always thought of America as the leader of the free world. I contrasted America with the unfree world, which of course was North Korea, China, the old Soviet Union. And then I said to myself, well, let's make a list of the defining characteristics of these tyrannical societies, these police states around the world. You have mass surveillance of citizens, systematic censorship, ideological indoctrination in the schools and the media. You have criminalization of political differences, the attempt to lock up the leader of the opposition party. You have political prisoners. So I go down that checklist and I say, well, how many of those things do we see now here in the United States? And the answer, dismayingly, is all of them. To one degree or another, all the defining features of police states are now evident in our own country. It's a shocking and disturbing realization.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems that way, right? When you think of the other police states of the world, obviously, I think, China comes to mind, right? We're not really different. That perhaps the only difference that I can actually think of at this point is that there are still those out there in America who are naive enough to believe that we are actually different. That we are the constitutional republic that, everyone says we are. It's like, no, we're not. We're actually living in that same police state, so, which probably makes it worse. Because, until guys like you are making movies like this, or guys like me are calling it out, or they see what's going on to my father, you're living in a world, through rose-colored glasses. We're looking at a prism that is painting a much more beautiful picture than what actually exists. What are the sort of police state tactics that you expect to see in the next year that lead up to this election? Because I imagine there's going to be a lot of them and a lot that haven't been talked about yet or haven't been done yet beyond the lawfare, what they're trying to do to my father currently.
Absolutely. Look, we are not a full-fledged police state, because if we were, I couldn't make a movie called Police State. So we are an emerging police state. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, we are somewhere around 6. But I'm also struck by the speed at which we have gone from 1 to 6. So while all of this may go back to 9/11 and some of the expansion of surveillance powers given to the government at that time, the truth of it is much of this has happened just under Biden. So just in the last 2 years. And the pretexts are somewhat different. Some of it could be COVID, some of it could be January 6th, but whatever the pretext, the movement is in the direction of greater unfreedom. So I think that we are now at a critical point where the big question is, what will the opposition do? What will the Supreme Court do? What will the Republicans do? What will Republican attorneys general and secretaries of state do? Because it's my firm view that the passivity of the Republicans provokes the aggression of the Democrats and of the left. It's like a bully. If he finds that the kids are all running scared, the bully gets even more excited and wants to increase the bullying tactics. The moment the kids decide, let's get together and ambush this guy in the back alley and kick him in the shins, then he's going to feel a taste of his own medicine. Then the bully begins to think twice.